Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Welcome home, family, and join us for the fun. Colorful guests, people everywhere under the sun. Interesting conversations. Prayers first has begun. Invocation, manifestation, conversation then will come. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramid. Let's start drinking some water, juice or tea. King Killer's recommended for you and me. Guayusa mixed together, maple syrup or honey. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Learn from the healers, crystals, pyramids. Learn from the healers, the artists, the seers, authors and teachers, dissolving your fears. Workshops of wisdom, the circle is wide. Plant medicine whispers, the planets align. No magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Crystals and pyramids, magnets that spin. Organ awakening the power within. Tantra and herbs, the gateways ignite. Shamanic drums calling truth into light. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Psychedelics painting vision so bright. Planetary activists guarding the night. Awareness expanding the cosmos in view. Higher vibrations are flowing through you. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Hey. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Xenon and herbs, you'll feel much better. Drink your tea now instead of later. Stay ahead of your health. Health is always your greatest wealth. Oh, no, no. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Hey. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Mad science fun, tear the bless. Experiments under the sun. Sacred fire, prayers begun. Success and happiness, your destiny has come. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Yeah, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Learn from the healers, the artists, the seers, authors and teachers, dissolving your fears. Workshops of wisdom, the circle is wide. Plant medicine whispers, the planets align. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Yeah, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, crystals and pyramids, magnets that spin. Organ awakening the power within. Tantra and herbs, the gateways ignite. Shamanic drums calling truth into light. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Moish Monday with Abdullah Il Talib Mosi Bey on Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids, YouTube, and Moroccan Post Media YouTube. I am so excited to be able to present this lesson to you today. The, the legal nationality and sovereignty as a legal and political framework. Nationality and sovereignty as legal and political frameworks. Let people know that we're on. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Share the link as we just going to have to get started. I am Abdullah El Talib Mosi Bey, and I will be the speaker for the day. It's been a while since I actually done a lesson. I've had quite a few guests on over the past several months, and so I'm excited to bring this powerful lesson to you today. I always want to give a shout out to Brother Hank, Uncle Hank. Strolling across the stream for the next hour and 55 minutes will be my website, mooresandmasonry.org. For any of my books, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, How Our Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology Vocabulary, Etymology Vocabulary Supplementary 1, Masonic Compass Square and the Connection to Measurement and Timekeeping, go to mooresandmasonry.org. So we're going to delve right into the topic, nationality and sovereignty as legal and political frameworks. Now, I'm going to introduce the topic with conceptual understanding of play and how is that it's important to place words or concepts into a proper framework. If a word, and you know I have been studying and teaching etymology since 1998. And for example, if you take a word out of its original setting, its original cultural paradigm, its original cultural framework, and create a new framework for a word, what have you done? You take a word out of its original cultural framework and place it into a new framework. You're constructing a new framework. So therefore you're suppressing the original thoughts and concepts and mores and folk ways of that word. It loses its essence because the essence of the word is in its original cultural framework. So this is important to place words and concepts into their original framework and know when to be able to know when a word or concepts are taken out of their original framework. So if nationality is not placed or studied in its proper framework, then the essence of it's not going to be fully understood. So I'm going to continue there. You have to continue to so you can understand the importance of proper frameworks. There's a case, Foster versus Nielsen. And the case is based on the 1818 treaty between United States and Spain. Spain had ceded Great Britain, Spain had ceded Florida to the United States. But the claim was that the Spanish crown had granted a land grant to Foster prior to the Spain ceding Florida to the United States. So in Foster versus Nelson, the English version of the 1818 treaty between Spain and United States was used. And so the English version rendered a different interpretation. So when the case was reviewed in United States versus Thompson, the Spanish version of the treaty was presented. They used the international canons of interpretation. So and I said that to give you the concept of the framework, canons of interpretation. So you will look at interpretation. You ask them, well, what framework are you using? What framework will be used to interpret a treaty or to interpret a statute, to interpret a constitution? What framework? You have what is known as hermeneutics, which is biblical interpretation, and they're taught three German theorists. Three German theorists are used as the bedrock, as the framework for biblical interpretation. So it's not just you're reopening up or reading a constitution or reading a statute or reading what they're taught frameworks. They're taught canons of interpretations. You have originalists and constructionalists. Those are two principles or philosophies of interpretations. So what is the canons of interpretation that's going to be used? So once again, placing a word, analyzing and studying a word in its original framework, which is etymology, or a new or constructive framework, which is semantics. Why is that important? Because you'll get a different decision, different meaning. There's a case, Commonwealth of Virginia versus the Manapani tribe. And it's based off the 1600 treaty between Great Britain and the Manapani tribe. So in the case, Commonwealth of Virginia versus the Manapani tribe, the jurists had convinced the Manapani tribe to use modern meanings, because it was said to the Manapani tribe that it would be challenging for 300-year-old meanings to be found. So once you agree to that, or once one agrees to use modern meanings to interpret a 300-year-old treaty or 300-year-old instrument or any 300-year-old document, what that does is the stripping you. That's the stripping now. Keep in mind the stripping of the rights that's in the treaty. Because the modern meanings will be used as the framework to which to interpret the treaty. Whereas the original meanings will not be used as the framework. So this is the concept of understanding the importance of proper framework and interpretation and analysis. It's very important. So those who are just joining us, today's topic is nationality and sovereignty as political and legal frameworks. We hear, so one would say, I am Chinese, or the Chinese nationality, or I am French, or the French nationality, or I am German, the German nationality. Now, what does that mean? So we're looking at nationality. You have we're gonna look at the nationality has a cultural social aspect. So you have the social cultural aspect of nationality. And so you're looking at, say, Chinese food, Chinese clothing, Chinese dance. So the social cultural aspect of nationality. But why? So that's dealing with the social culture, the food, the language. But when you're talking about protection and legal bond and rights and duties, then you're looking at the political and legal aspect of nationality. So one claims to be German when one is claiming to have a legal bond to Germany. But if you're looking moving from just looking at from a social culture perspective, and just leaving out the political and legal aspect, then the protection and the diplomatic recognition and international recognition is lost. So let's continue there and understanding the importance of the proper framework to have in order to get the remedy that one would need in order to protect one's rights, in order to know what is the proper application of law to which to apply. So here we're looking at here my nationality lesson, nationality in a consanguinity sense, consanguinity, ancestry, genealogy, descent, national origin, parentage, pedigree, lineage. Nationality is tied to a cultural identity, culture, traditions, language, and national history. Nationality in a political sense. Nationality and sovereignty are deeply intertwined. One's legal bond to a nation state and protection. So looking at the value of the importance of nationality. So when one says I am German, so you have to provide clarity here. You have a friend who is a naturalized citizen of the United States, an Italian who is a naturalized citizen of the United States. So that Italian will have in his or her house both the Star Spangled Banner and the Italian flag. Now, the legal framework, the person is of Italian, the national origin is of Italian, because the legal framework is still there. The Italian, the nationality Italian legal framework is there because that person had to apply for United States citizenship. So the country of origin is always known. The country of origin or country of nationality is Italian. And that's the national origin. So the person's national origin is Italian. And that would always be known, always be there. So that framework is there because this person had to apply for naturalization, had to meet the qualifications, elements for United States naturalization based on the United States naturalization laws. So the legal framework, the Italian legal framework is there. So, now, if the person wants to, in case, the person in naturalizing and as a United States citizen, the person has to renounce his or her allegiance to Italy. But that allegiance can be regained. The person's Italian allegiance can be regained through proper process or what? Renouncing his or her allegiance to the United States. And that is done through an expatriation. They can expatriate to their country, Italy. So you have, so now looking at going back to there being a naturalized citizen of the United States, they were now renouncing their allegiance to Italy. They're now they're no longer protected under Italian sovereignty. They're now protected under United States Constitution, United States sovereignty. So they're understanding the nationality, that there is the legal bond, rights and duties. So they're looking at the elements. Nationality in the context of international law and as a legal framework, a legal bond to a state. So nationality and sovereignty are deeply interwoven. Because you say a legal bond to a state. So what is sovereignty as a legal and political framework? As a legal and political framework, sovereignty recognizes, institutionalizes, and formalizes the nationality of a people and the national name of the nation state. So there is a recognition, a formalization, and an institutionalization. So you have therefore the culture, the language, the festivals, the clothing, the celebrations, the ceremonies are recognized, formalized, and institutionalize. So so the holidays. So you have the language. So it becomes what, the national language. So it's protected. It's formalized, recognized. So this is sovereignty as a legal and political framework, and the importance of it. Nationality is a collective identity. Abdullah Talib Mosi Bey, an individual identity. More Chinese, Japanese, French, collective identity. It doesn't apply just to an individual. And the nationality is placed within a legal framework, but is also placed within a framework of sovereignty and protected within the framework of sovereignty. So to understand that nationality is not only a cultural identity, but a legal framework. It's important that we really grasp this concept that nationality is a legal framework as well. So, cultural, so it has a cultural, social aspect, but it has a legal framework aspect. It's very important. Now I'm going to continue. Now I'm going to give, what is the situation with the Moors? I am a Moor. What does that mean? I say I'm a Moor. What does that mean? All right. One would say, I am Chinese. I am a Moor. Does they have, we know nationality is a legal framework, but we know that when one claims to be a Chinese, that person has a legal bond to China, has a legal bond to China, and protected by the Chinese government. There's diplomatic protection, China asserts jurisdiction. So China can assert jurisdiction over her nationals anywhere they are in the world. That's the diplomatic. So that's diplomatic protection, because there's a reciprocal nature. Allegiance you give, and then you extended protection. State jurisdiction. So the Chinese will assert jurisdiction over her nationals anywhere they are in the world. Well, I am a Moor. With that same thing in our current situation, which I'll explain, why wouldn't that apply to me or unconscious Moors? Why wouldn't that I am a Chinese? What is the situation about, what is our situation where that would not apply to, but that is not the case for us? What is the situation here? We lost our sovereignty. I'm going back to framework. This is why I started with framework. This is why I gave an example, because I had to set the groundwork here. I'm going to be using an international law framework. So we're looking at nationality and sovereignty in the international law framework. We're going to look at our condition, conscious and unconscious Moors, and the international law framework. We're going to look at Drew Ali's work in the international law framework. When you don't look at it in the international law framework, what happens? Once again, take a word. When you take a word out of its original framework, you're analyzing a word out of its original framework. So I take the word out of its original framework and place it into a new framework. What have I done? What will happen? This is why I'm giving this to you, because I'm prepared. I am laying the groundwork. I'm setting principles here. So loss of sovereignty is in the international law framework. One, a people, so there is no legal bond. So the legal bond, our legal bond to Morocco, our mother, has been what? Cut off due to international law framework, loss of sovereignty. Whereas one claiming to be a German, their legal bond, they have not, the mother is still, the German sovereignty still is not dormant, it's intact. So there is a legal bond. What a people cannot have a legal bond to a state whose sovereignty has been lost. Once again, international law framework, loss of sovereignty. We cannot have a legal bond, and be protected by a state who's lost their sovereignty. So our saying that we're Moors does not have the same effect as one claiming to be a Chinese, German, French, Italian. Once again, loss of sovereignty. It's not Abdullah Bey, it's international law framework. When we don't use an international law framework to analyze our condition and to analyze Juali's works, then once it gets, it's like taking a word out of its original framework, its original setting in the bin, and placing it into a new framework. What is the result of doing that? You don't get the proper remedy. The insight, the situation changes. The meaning, the essence of it is lost because it's being analyzed into a improper framework. So what is the proper framework? International law framework. And be more specifically, the legal process for subjugation, the legal process, the international legal process, as a remedy for the subjugation of a people is known as reversion to sovereignty. Now, what is reversion to sovereignty? Reverting or returning to the sovereignty that was lost. Restoring the political independence that which was lost due to European conquests and colonization and subjugation. It's the international legal process. So I am a Moor. That is my nationality. That is the nationality of our people. But it does not have the same, it does not have the same weight or same effect as a people who have not lost their sovereignty. Because you can't have, once again, the legal bond when the sovereignty is dormant. Our mother is in a coma. So we have been under United States subjugation for over 200 years. The sovereignty has not been restored, has not been recovered. Now let's analyze Juali works. So we can understand. In the international law framework, in 1913, at that time was 120 years ago, it wasn't 200 years, it wasn't over 200 years at that time of us being subjugated in the United States jurisdiction. We're talking being subjugated in the United States. Remember, we're subjugated under France, the Code Noir, 1724. But we're talking about subjugation by the United States. And within the United States jurisdiction, subjugation, it wasn't, in 1913, it had not been over 200 years. It's about 128, over about 130 years. So over the 130 years in 1913. So Juali asserted that we're Moors and not Negro, colored, and black. What does that mean in the framework of international law? Juali asserted within a institutional setting that we are Moors and not Negro, color, black. Displayed the Moorish flag. And what does that mean in the framework of international law? We're Moors, Juali, restoring Moorish national consciousness through education, through systematic education, not Negro, color, black. Addressing the not Negro, color, black claim in the framework of international law is addressing, at that time, our 130 plus years of subjugation within the United States jurisdiction. That's all it can mean. All right. Because that's a stripping. That's a stripping of a conquered population. When a state, United States or France or Portugal, Germany, Spain, when a nation state strips a people of their cultural identity, nationality, that's national identity, that is an act of subjugation. Once again, that cannot be heard by United States courts. That is outside. That is a political question doctrine. I mean, we cannot go to the United States Supreme Court or any United States courts. It's because it's an international. It's an international law framework, subjugation, a state, a United States, within their records and their census, Black, Negro, colored, African American. That's a stripping. That's the major. And that fact that now it's been over 200 years, that is a major act of subjugation. That is culture genocide. That's a stripping or redefining or reclassifying a people. That's a political question doctrine. The courts, United States Supreme Court won't hear it. They'll bring it down as a political question doctrine because you're talking about an act of subjugation. So let's look at our original status. So we have our original status and our current status. Because you're looking at restoring what? The people to restoring us to our original status and condition. So with Drew Ali, set the stage. Drew Ali set the stage for reversion to our Moorish sovereignty. By what? Certain that we're Moors. Sets the stage. Because he's addressing and that now we're not new color black. So he's setting the stage. He displays, so we have that. So one element, reversion to sovereignty. Teach the people who they are. Restore their national consciousness. So we storing Moorish national consciousness through education, through a systematic process of education in a system and institutional setting, through literature, through instructions, through lessons. That's an element. That's one of the elements of reversion to sovereignty. Not Negro, color, black. He is addressing, once again, United States subjugation or stripping of his people, of their cultural identity. He's saying it to us too, but it's not just only to us. Just hear me out. It's not just to us. All right. We're Moors and not Negro, color, black. That's not just to us. All right. In the context of international law, as if because you're addressing the stripping. Well, we didn't strip ourselves. We didn't reclassify ourselves as black, Negro, color. My brothers and sisters, where's the violation on our part? We're not in violation. Hear me out, my brothers. World court. Now we're in world court. All right. Abdullah, you don't know what you're talking about. No problem. That's fine. When you make the claim that we're in violation, we're in world court now. You make the claim that we're in violation. What are you telling the world? What are you telling the world? You say, not Negro, color, black. What would you be telling the world by making a claim that we are in violation? That United States is not in violation. That France is not. So it dismisses your dismisses what? Your subjugation claim of being stripped of our nationality. It dismisses that. Dehumanization, cultural genocidal claim, because you say we are in violation. United States is in violation. France is in violation of subjugation. Spain is in violation. We're not in violation. We didn't strip ourselves of our cultural identity, our nationality. They can check black off. They check black all day long. That's not a violation on our part. That's a violation on the United States part. Hear me out, my brothers and sisters. I know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I got you. We have millions of our people for over 200 years. For over 200 years in the United States jurisdiction, millions have died. Millions that came way before us. Millions that came way before us now. Right? Check color off. Well, how did it come to check color off? Or nigger off? Or black? And the census. Like, who put that in the census? Colored. People of color, then. Nigger color black. Like, remember, we talking about millions before us. Look at this. But they're in violation? United States is not in violation? Spain is not? That's, remember, you're talking, once again, international law framework. Subjugation. A major, and Drawley addressed it. And worked what? With working to what? Worked to remedy, Drawley set the stage for reversion to sovereignty, because that's an element. Restoring the national consciousness to the people through education. He set the stage for that. It's an element. All right, the flag. Displaying the Moorish flag. What is that? All right, what is a national flag? The Chinese flag, French flag, Spain flag, German flag, but no Okinawa flag. What does that mean in international law? What does a flag mean in international law? Represents what? The sovereignty, territoriality. So here we got the elements now. Sovereignty and independence. Territoriality. Unity. So you're looking at national unity and national identity. So let's look at the elements of a flag now. National unity and identity. Territoriality. International presence. Sovereignty and independence. Diplomatic protocols. These are elements in international law of a flag of a country. Analyze it by elements. So Drawley displaying the flag, Moorish flag, asserting that we're Moors and not nigger color black. Let's wrap our fez around that, wrap our turban around that. But when it's not analyzed in an international law framework, this is why I gave This is why I set the stage with the words and proper framework and examples I gave. You don't, and it's not analyzed in the international law framework. Then what framework are you ones just using to analyze it? What other framework can be used to analyze? The nationality is not analyzed in a legal framework. Chinese nationality or French nationality or Burkinabe nationality or Mexican nationality. So that's a legal framework. The French nationality as a legal framework, the French government can assert jurisdiction over her nationals to extend protection to them anywhere they are in the world. That allows gives the French government the authority to do that. Because an element of nationality in the context of international law is diplomatic protection. You have legal bond, rights and duties, state jurisdiction, and diplomatic protection. So the state jurisdiction, i.e. France, has the authority to assert jurisdiction over her nationals anywhere in the world to protect them, i.e. French embassies, French consulates, French ambassadors, French consulate generals, French consuls, French charge d'affaires. That gives the French nationality, gives the French government the authority. That is a legal framework. In this case, because now we're saying French nationality. So that's what identifies what? So French nationality, that identifies what? The state that has what? The jurisdiction to protect the French nationals on French citizens if they're French and if they're in France. The French government the sovereign power to what? Write laws for the French that governs the French nationality and protections. So it's a legal framework. So that's why I had to, because with this I had to give what our situation is. That because we lost our sovereignty, what Duali set the stage, it has not been recovered. So now, the Moorish Science Temple annual conventions. What do the annual conventions, 98 of them, and analyzing that in the context of a legal framework in the international legal process of reversion of sovereignty, having annual national conventions as an element to reversion of sovereignty. Continuing, to meet, I want active and not passive more. An element, I want active and not passive Moors. That's an element of reversion to sovereignty, activity. That's recognized in the international community, activity, ongoing activity. ongoing protests, education, ongoing activity. That is a element of reversion to sovereignty in international law. So reversion to sovereignty is the international legal process. There are elements that have to be met. So the framework matters so that we're not helter-skelter. We're not helter-skelter. We're not, you place, you have, what is the framework? So placing the words, then you have those. Tashari Bay, almost 50 years. So you have the continuing. Shir Malachi Bey, myself, 33 years. The sheiks, grand governors, and so forth. The continuing work, the activity. Those are elements. Almost 50 years of Tashari Bey teaching. 33 years for me, my books, Taj's books, Shir Malachi Bey, others, the other conscious Moors, whether they're doing it right or whatever, the fact that they're active, my brothers and sisters, I'm not going to criticize. I'm not criticizing. They're doing the best they can. I give honor. The conscious Moors are doing the best they can. They're doing the best they can. The fact that they're active and teaching that we're Moors and not live with color black. What does that mean in the context and the framework of reversion to sovereignty? What does it mean? I want active and not passive wars. We're placing it, the activity in the proper framework. I know you have, and I know there are conscious Moors who are making the claim that they've recovered the lost sovereignty. They're doing the best they can. They have not recovered. We have not been restored. We have not. What are the elements? What are the elements of recovery of our lost sovereignty? What are the elements? It's not somebody saying it. You can see the elements. That means what? You restored what? Control over our land and natural resources. Self-governing legislation, executive, judicial, governing, setting up, negotiating treaties. Because now being restored the international legal personality, being restored our international legal personality, which would allow us, that international legal personality, that's an international law term, to negotiate treaties with other nation states, to sign multilateral treaties. So that's what enables them to do that, because they have an international legal personality. China, France, and Burkina Faso, etc. So those who are just joining us, hit that like button if you've been with us for past, we've been on rocking for almost an hour now. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Let people know that we're on. We got an hour left. I'm heating up, y'all. I'm heating up. I'm going to go to the comments section in about maybe 20 minutes. Type your questions in, y'all. Type your questions in. Abdullah, you don't know what you're talking about, which is fine. You have to support it. I have no problem with that. Abdullah, you don't know what you're talking about. That's a claim. That's fine. That's a claim. That's all. It's a claim. Doesn't mean it's just a claim. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. I'm challenging anyone who makes a claim, which I don't have a problem. You can make the claims. Make the claims. I don't want to talk about. I have no problem with anyone making a claim that I don't know what I'm talking about, I will challenge you to present receipts, exhibits to support your claim. This is how we grow. But just the claim, I don't know what I'm talking about, that's known as unfounded. That's unfounded claims. That's all. And so if I see that, I'll just pass it. I won't even read it aloud. It's just no, because I need this, I want you to a list. You don't even, exhibit B, put A, then just, give me, identify the exhibit, C, identify the exhibit, do that. Then I'll read that, but I won't read the claim, the unfounded claims. I won't read any unfounded claims. It's meaningless, meaningless. And I'm doing this. I'm taking this opportunity as a teachable moment because I see that a lot. I see unfounded claims upon unfounded claims upon unfounded claims. And we have to challenge each other, challenge me. We have to challenge each other to present receipts to support our claims. This is how we grow. I don't come on here just to have fun. I'm not about having fun. I don't have time for that. We have to grow the people. I don't have time for having to have fun. I have to grow the people. So I have to teach epistemology and etymology and grammar and vocabulary building and dictionary study skills and how to structure an argument and rhetoric and reasoning and argumentation and principles of debate. You have to teach those principles. Because my 33 years of observation is that's a weakness in this Moorish movement. And the Moorish movement is what? The reversion to sovereignty movement. Be clear, all right? Moorish movement, reversion to sovereignty, to Moorish sovereignty movement. It's not some loose movement and reversion to international legal process, reversion to our Moorish sovereignty. And Drew Ali set the stage. Now, let me continuing. So, for review, sovereignty is a legal and political framework that recognizes, formalizes, and institutionalizes the nationality of a people and the national name of their nation state in the creation of nation states. Nationality, an individual's legal bond to a state, and a result of that legal bond, that individual receives protections, and the state can assert jurisdiction, because what I said as nationality in the context of international law, you have the elements: legal bond, rights and duties, state jurisdiction, and diplomatic protection. Nationality as a legal framework. The nationality in a social-cultural aspect, nationality, the social-cultural aspect, or as I mentioned earlier, the state protects the culture. So you say, because it's the national language and national festivals and national clothing. You have the national character, the national flag, the national coat of arms, the national seal, the national anthem. Just those four. So I addressed the national flag, national coat of arms, national seal, the national seal, the official sealing documents from on the domestic level as well as on the international level, the sealing of documents. But that national seal, the national flag, is what? Once again, is embodied within the nationality of the people, and it's recognized. It has that nation state has an international legal personality, so therefore the national flag, the national seal, is recognized by the community of nations. Now, when a state loses her sovereignty, as in the case with us, when a state loses her sovereignty, the national flag and national seal, the national coat of arms, there's a loss of that. The loss of sovereignty means that there's a loss of international personality. So the international personality is lost. So the national flag of that defeated nations is no longer recognized by other nations, states, because they lost. The states lost their sovereignty. So Jali set the stage to revive our Moorish statehood. He set the stage. It's not completed. It hasn't been recovered. There's more work to be done. And a lot of it had to be. I'll leave that alone. I won't say it. You know what? I can feel some. Let me check out some questions now. Let me see where we are. Comments. All right, we got people in the house. Let's see. Greetings, Kenneth Ill Bay. Dante Stedman, peace, brother. Jeffrey Bay, peace. DuPont, peace. Layeta Herb, peace. Peace, love. I am Moorish, Moroccan nationality. BD clear. Make it plain, Professor. All right, thank you, Malik. All right, thank you for making it plain, Professor. Kenneth L. Bay, every continent is Moorish soil, and the entire empire of Morocco was a worldwide jurisdiction. Jeffrey Bay, strip one's rights. All right. UN recognition. History of the Moorish Empire in Europe. Chapter 1, Ancient Arabian, 2500 BC. It doesn't not matter anymore. It does not matter anymore. Time to move on. I don't know what that means. It does not matter anymore. So what I'm teaching does not matter anymore. I'm clear. What I'm teaching people. So my teaching people that nationality and sovereignty as a legal framework, and giving very details about it, and reversion of sovereignty as the proper international law remedy for the international law legal process for the remedy of our subjugation. That doesn't, but these people don't know it. Like, doesn't matter anymore. All right. It would only not matter anymore if we have recovered our lost Moorish sovereignty. It would be foolish of me. It would be foolish of me to do a presentation on reversion of sovereignty when we already recovered it. We haven't recovered our sovereignty. The sovereignty still lie dormant. So it matters, post-millennium, and I'll just move on from that. All right. International law is dead. All right. That's a claim. Once again, that's a claim. So I'll give you time. Support your claim. International law is dead is a claim. International law is dead is the claim. That's all. That's a claim. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, Exhibit D. International law is dead. Sandra Hoops, Peace Family. Calling people crayons is dehumanizing. No such thing as black nationality. White is not a nationality. But some questions. Any questions? It's not facts at kind of. What is this moron wearing a Turkish fez? All right. Hank, block this person. Block Mr. Swindle Hookwink. Get a chance, Hank. Block Mr. Swindle Hookwink. The Bay of, all right, we have the numbers. We just need the proper concepts, which is what's being presented here tonight. This information is 100% researchable. Well, absolutely it is. Moorish American is our nationality. Moorish American has been established since 1920 and before. Stop lying, Kenneth, not Bay. All right. Americans hate Moorish. Moor is the root word. All right. I'm looking for questions. Bring your receipts to prove that Moorish American isn't a nationality. No receipts, just opinions. Alex, how do we reclaim our sovereignty on an international level? How does putting your nationality on public record and filing paperwork really matter? Well, Alex, I did explain that Drew Ali set the stage. You said I gave the how. I talked about the how. Drew Ali set the stage for the recovery of our lost sovereignty. In 1913, over 112 years ago, set the stage because you got to start with Drew Ali. You can't start this year. You got to start with Drew Ali because he set the stage. So the reversion to and I gave the elements. You said how? I'm giving the how. That's the how. I don't know what else because I'm explaining Drew Ali's works in the framework of international law, and more particularly in the international legal process of reversion of sovereignty. He set the stage. The how, restoring Moorish national consciousness by teaching us who we are in an institutionalized setting, displaying, the Moorish flags, Moorish flag. The how. In the institute, that's the how. And I mentioned Taj Tariq Bey, 45, almost 50 years, myself 33 years, Shir Malakah Bey 20, and other sheiks and grand sheiks. I talked about the annual Moorish Science Temple, the annual convention, 98 years. Those are the hows. The hows are continue to be active. Those are the hows. It's just knowing that this is the international law framework. It's the reversion of sovereignty is the international law legal process that had already been set in stage over 112 years ago. Someone mentioned proper concepts. That is having the proper concepts of what was having the proper concepts of what has already been done, what's already been brought, that the stage has been set and to continue work, placing the works Juali and all the Grand Sheiks and Grand Governors, Shin Malachi Bey, my Abdullah Bey, Tashriq Bey, and others, the works in the proper framework. This is why I began the lesson about framework. Placing when you take a word out of its original framework and placing it into new framework, it's just putting the proper framework on what has already been done for the past 112 years. I'm trying to make it plain. Help me out. If I'm not making it plain, help me out, my brothers and sisters. I'm just trying to make it plain. Putting the works that have already been done for the past 112 years in the proper framework. Learning that this is the proper framework. Because if you don't place it in once again, when you take a word out of its proper framework and place it in a new framework, you're putting new lenses. So now you got new lenses on it, new glasses. It changes the meaning. It changes the essence, the effect, the power. It loses its essence. It loses its power. It loses its original concept. It loses the remedy. Being active is key. Chester Charles Bay, I tried to call you, good brother. I hope. All right, yes, I'll give you a call, Brother Chester. Islam, any case we have in the United States, do we correct the United States in international courts? We talked about that, but it matters and means everything to know this is new age healing. It matters and means everything to know who we truly are, and just simply by waking up from the sleep spell, we regain our state. Well, I know what he means by waking up. That would activity. Yeah, that's what Juali set the stage for the waking up. Lamar Montez, Islam. Any case? All right, look at that. Imperial Creed, Marshall Bay, Detroit. Timothy Hersey, peace. Tombstone. I love you. Peace with you. I love you too, bro. Joel Master, Islam. Noble Pro Gadget Tex. Noble Abdullah Il Talemos Bay. How have been operating all these 33 years as a Moor? Wow, and you got to look at my works, brother. I go to YouTube and my website, moorsandmasonry.org. You see my works. I met Taj Rebay. I had Taj Rebay on about 3 weeks ago. I met him in October 1993. He and I, did a lot of work together. All right. I don't see any more questions. I'm trying to. All right, good. How do I get back to this? All right, good. All right, like I said, continue to type your questions and comments in as I continue. So this is important to grasp, and I know that it's not a hard concept to grasp. But when people are given misconceptions, what happens is that they wrestle with the misconceptions. So it is not a hard concept from its nature. It's not complicated. When I'm speaking, it's not complicated. That when you clear the nationality as a legal framework, one's an individual's legal bond to a state. It's there. That would not, like I said, because, and I gave examples that would not, we would not have, because once again, we lost our sovereignty and has yet to be restored. We would not have a legal bond to Morocco, our original. So we would not have a legal bond to our mother, because it's been the loss of sovereignty due to European conquests and colonization, discovery and subjugation severs the legal bond. It's like, all right, so we have the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is attached to the navel, and the placenta is attached to the umbilical cord. So what Spain and France and England and United States are being under the United States subjugation for over 200 years, as United States forced us into their legal framework and placed us into a new citizenship, into United States forced us into their legal system. So that that's another act of subjugation. So act of subjugation is the stripping of our cultural identity, nationality, national identity. One. Two, forcing us into their legal framework, into their legal system. That's two. Three, placing us into a new citizenship framework through the 14th Amendment. That's three. That in international law, that is known as acquisition of nationality through subjugation. So that's three. And this been over 200 years now. So it's been ongoing. So you're looking at stripping is removing our sovereignty. Then removing the knowledge of our cultural identity, our national history, our festivals, our rituals, our celebrations, turban and fezzes, our language. That's culture genocide. So you have culture genocide, and then we can break down the specifics of the subjugation, the stripping of our cultural identity, forcing us into their legal system, place us into a new citizenship framework. These are elements of subjugation. So we want to be detailed. That's why I'm being detailed, so that you can look this up. You can look these up, but you want to be detailed. Meaning, I don't want to just say subjugation, because that's too broad. I gotta give you the elements, of subjugation. What have they been doing to us? What constitutes the subjugation? I point out the elements, and that's what I'm doing. Now you have now let's look at, I want to give you the word color. Let's look at the word color. The etymology and legal meaning of the word color. Hide. The etymology of the word color means hide or conceal. The legal meaning: hide, conceal, distinguished from that which is real, simulacrum, simulants, artificial, pretext, disguise, counterfeit, fake. That's the so how did the word color gain the association of complexion, skin tone, and pigmentation and shade? How did it become associated with those with complexion, skin tone, pigmentation, and shade? Well, in 1685, Francois Bonner and his developed his new division of the earth, and he in developing the system of classifying the human family. And he did not use black, white, red, brown, and yellow. Developed the framework in 1684. Now, Carl Linnaeus, and using Francois Bonner's framework, Carl Linnaeus added black, white, red, and yellow to Francois Bonner's framework and his new division of the earth. So he added so it was Carl Linnaeus in 1713, his Systema Naturae, in its 13 editions from 1713 to 1733. He associated the people's complexion with black, white, red, and yellow. In 1795, the German anthropologist Johann Friedrich Blumenbach added the fifth class brown. And he also associated the word Caucasian with white. That's where it came from, white. So when you see on applications, Caucasian / white, that came 1795. Everything has origin. 1795, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach. The brown, he added the brown. So he added the fifth class brown. So you're looking at the 1684, then you had the 1700s, Francois Bonner, 1684, new division of the earth, setting the groundwork, or setting the structure, the framework upon which Carl Linnaeus used, and then you have Johann Friedrich Blumenbach used. See how the stage is set? So Johann Friedrich Blumenbach added the fifth class of brown. Say Johann Friedrich Blumenbach didn't add black, white, red. It was Carl Linnaeus did that, but so Johann Friedrich Blumenbach added the fifth class brown, and he associated white with Caucasian. And then so now you have throughout the 1800s, you know, they continue to use that framework, call it Francois Bonner, you know, Carl Linnaeus, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, and throughout the 1800s, you had these ethnologists, and throughout the 1900s. So now, here we go. In the early 1900s, you have the term common understanding, whereby there's courts and agencies use the common understanding meaning of white to determine who can be a citizen and rights and privileges, the common understanding of white. And then you have the EEOC and courts Equal Opportunity, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and courts use the common understanding for the word color. So that, but I'm tracing the origin of the paradigm of how did color, where did they get that from? Where did they get this associate? Because Francois Linnaeus, in using Francois Linnaeus' structure, classification system they applied to the human family, he applied black, white, red, and yellow to it, and called, once again, Francois Linnaeus added the brown. So we're going back to the early 1700s with Linnaeus. And here we are today, the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and courts use the common understanding meaning of the word color, complexion, skin tone, and pigmentation. They use the common understanding meaning of the word white in the courts, in the United States Supreme Courts, in agencies, and thousands of courts and clerks. You look at thousands of the courts, clerks in the early 1900s, throughout the early 1900s, 1910, 20, 1920, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Oh yes, white only, color only. See, this is where the power, once again, knowing the origin, be able to speak intelligently, be able to present the receipts. I'm identifying the names. You can do research for yourself. But you can show our people where these current meanings come from. You give them the etymology, you give them the legal meaning of the word color, and you show them that's why etymology and semantics are important. I teach both. I study and teach both, not just etymology. Semantics, because you got to be able to explain how these current meanings came about. You can't do that with etymology. You got the semantics will give you the insight and the structure and the frameworks to be able to explain with terminologies and principles to be able to explain how these how connotative or modern meanings come about, and be able to trace it through different time periods and up to the modern time. So it's etymology and semantics. So we'll see if anyone have any more. Go back to the comment section. We have less than 30 minutes left. All right, here we go. We got good. More comments. L. Miles. Why we learn all this knowledge and ain't nothing changed? You know what, L. Miles? That's a good question. But have we learned all this knowledge? So have we said, because that would imply that we know this. Say, have we learned all this knowledge, ain't nothing changed? But have we learned all this knowledge? I mean, that's my question to you. Have we learned all this knowledge? Now you say all this, I mean, I've been speaking for the past hour and a half. Kenneth L. Bay, no such term as our Moroccan Empire in any of the Moorish treaties, 16th, 17th, 18th centuries. Our Moroccan is a misconcept. Al Zulban Ante, greetings, Moors. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship clearly says that our Moroccan / U.S. Treaty of Peace and Friendship, American equal our Moroccan, and the American continent exists, yet Agent Kenneth says it doesn't. But it doesn't read our Moroccan ill. So I mean, you call Kenneth an agent. I mean, it doesn't read our Moroccan. In the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between His Imperial Majesty and Emperor Morocco, His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Morocco, and the United States of 1787, there's the term our Moroccan is not in the treaty. That AL space capital MOROCCAN is not in the treaty. Kenneth wrote that it's not in the treaty, and you called him an agent. It's not in the treaty. Now, present the receipts, because I've read it on there 30, 40 times. Our Moroccan is not in the treaty. Now, if we overlook something, present the finding of facts. All right. Instead of calling, this is how you would do it, L. This for future. This for everybody, y'all. It's for everybody. You would put the link in the chat. So you would Article 7 or Article 9 or Article 12 of the treaty. You have to do that. So now you have to go to the treaty, brother. You need to do that because you called him an agent. I'm only reading it because I can't just let that go. I can't let that be. You call him an agent, and then I know better. So you have to present the receipt, the article, identify the article where our Moroccan is in there, because that's his claim that it doesn't have our Moroccan is not, that term does not appear in the treaty. I know it doesn't, but present, give us the article. Give us the article where it appears. That's just fair. That's all. It's just we gotta be balanced now. We gotta be balanced. We just can't call somebody agent. We gotta be balanced. So present the evidence. Give us the article. Just give us the article. Just put the articles in the chat. Articles, whatever, 5, 6, whatever, 10, whatever. Put the articles in the chat. Common understanding equals social engineering. Absolutely. Because how did the common understanding come about? How did the common understanding of the word color come about? How did the common understanding of the word white come about? Like, how did the common understanding of the word white come about to be associated with people, like white people? Like, how did the common understanding of white come about to be associated with people that look like Donald Trump? How did that come about? Like, how did that come about? Because you call it common understanding. Well, we can poll, we can poll people in a 10-block radius. And then the people in 10-block radius, when we poll them, they're going to say that white is associated with people that look like Donald Trump. White people, that they're going to, of course they're going to do that. Of course. But how did that come about? How did that come about? How would that was entered into the social fabric of society? Of referring to people as white people, black people, brown people, yellow people, red people. How did that concept come about? Because it's not based in pedigree, ancestry. It doesn't identify black, white, red, brown, and yellow. Do not identify any clan or tribe or consanguinity, genealogy, ancestry, pedigree, lineage, kingdom, empire, delicate, emirate. Doesn't identify any flag or national flag or national seal, a national coat of arms, a national anthem. Doesn't identify a culture, a people. All right, continuing. Michael Bay, Islam, can I send you a money order for the book Moors and Masonry? Michael Bay, right? Take my number down, 215-300-5471. It's 215-300-5471. Text me right now. All right, so I think I addressed all this. The word American itself derives from Moroccan, and more. Reference Barry, Barry W. I think I was. Until we move as a nation, will this information benefit us as a nation? Islam more. All right. When you talk about move as a nation, that's the recovery of our lost sovereignty. To move as a nation would mean that we would have to recover. Let me address this. Thank you for the question. There's no stupid questions. I appreciate the questions. Let me read it again. This is the Metu Netta. Until we move as a nation, will this information benefit us as a nation? Islam more. All right. 112 years ago, Noor Ali set the stage for the reversion to our Moorish sovereignty by teaching us that we're Moors. That assertion, that's restoring Moorish national consciousness, that is needed as an element to be fulfilled to revert to our sovereignty. We have to teach the people who they are. There's elements. So it's a process. His teaching is just displaying the Moorish flag and element, setting up those at temple, issuing Moorish nationality card, which is an element for a national registry. The Moorish nationality card is an element for population. So the Moorish nationality card would be an element to show a population of Moors who's been restored Moorish national consciousness. It's an element of reversion to sovereignty. So that's the process of us moving as a nation would be called in international law or the international legal process, reversion to sovereignty. It's a process. It has not, we still, so the teachings, Tajiri Bey, for almost 50 years. Abdullah Bey, 30 years, 33 years. Shemalaga Bey, 20 years. The sheikhs, grand governors, the 98 years of annual Moorish Science Temple conventions. Those matter. Don't minimize that. Don't minimize the different conscious Moors doing Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and lectures, traveling, different. Those matter. I want active and not passive Moors. Those matter. Yes, it matters. Yes, it's going to make a difference. Our activity. The worst thing we can do is to be passive. The worst thing we can do is be passive. So what I'm doing is giving you all the international framework for all the activity. Placing the activity in its proper international framework of all for 112 years of all these conscious boards doing teaching, the different ones. It's continuing to really set the stage for the recovery of our lost more sovereignty, reversion to sovereignty, which is an international legal process. And there's elements, and it has to be the work that Taj has done, I've done, Shimalakai Bay and others, Cosmo Ill, and Asir Dukateers and Ross Mariah and Anaid and King Al Bay and Abundance Child. Mafiel and those who've been on, Luisa Flores and Pacola Cusail and the sheiks and grand governors. It matters. It's part of the process of reversion to sovereignty. I want active and not passive Moors. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not on some emotional trip because I'm talking the elements of reversion to sovereignty. Our activity is our continuous activity we can show the international community for 112 years, a continuous activity to restore Moorish national consciousness, to work towards reverting to our Moorish sovereignty, reviving our Moorish statehood, a continuous, ongoing for 112 years. What does that mean in the context of international law? That is a very key element. And I don't want to minimize it. Don't want it to be overlooked. All right, so we have, I'm gonna see any more questions. Yes, I do. All right. I mentioned Asir Dukateers. Yes, I did mention Asir Dukateers because Asir was on my show. We have Uncle Hank. We have Uncle Hank. Hank, with this platform, Hank's been Moorish conscious since the 80s. Bandalay, who's on my platform. Shamil, who's on my platform. Crip Jesus. Those are people that's been on my platform I've worked with, El Kanan, Dr. Powerton, Sister Shantae Lene Hawford, Sheehan mentioned, we'll have here the Monte Video Convention. Yeah, Monte Video Convention, Acts and Duties of States. Thank you, Sheehan. Post-Laminium. Post-Laminium is the international law principle of restoration, of returning a people to their original condition and status. So we have our original status, our current status, and that current status has been over for the past 200 years being subjugated under United States jurisdiction. Our original status is that of Moorish statehood, Moorish sovereignty, operating in full Moorish statehood and Moorish sovereignty, under protection of the Moorish flag, under protection of Moorish statehood. That is our original status. Our current status, that status has been for over 200 years, are being subjugated under the United States. That's our current status. And as a result of that, our sovereignty has been laid dormant for over 200 years. And we have not had our legal bond to our mother for over 200 years. The France and Spain and Portugal and Great Britain / England / Great Britain and United States, continue to cut the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is cut. So the umbilical cord being cut represents our subjugation, our disconnection from our mother. All right. So I have 10 minutes left. All right. So don't forget to hit the like button, hit the share, let people know that also this is, we share this video. This, like I said, we have 10 minutes left. Subscribe. Also my website, mooresandmasonry.org. For my books, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, How Our Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology and Vocabulary, Etymology and Vocabulary Supplementary 1, The Masonic Company Square, and the Connection, the Measurement, of Timekeeping. Go to Illuminati and the Illumination of the Mind, go to mooresandmasonry.org. Michael Eo, my number once again is 215-300-5471. Just give me a call after we get done, or text me. I haven't gotten the text yet. All right, so if the kingdom support, all right, so we trust I satisfied most of the questions here. Just to recap, and I trust I was able to expand your understanding, your knowledge base, and give you a stronger understanding of nationality and sovereignty. Nationality and sovereignty are deeply intertwined. And once again, nationality is an individual's legal bond to a nation state. So you see how nationality and sovereignty are deeply intertwined. National sovereignty being the legal and political framework that recognizes, formalizes, and institutionalizes the nationality of a people and the national name of the nation state. So you see how nationality and sovereignty are deeply intertwined. Once again, I just said before that gave example of the French nationality, that the French nationality. So you have French sovereignty, French nationality, and one claims I am French. So French nationality, what that does is gives French the authority to assert jurisdiction over the French nationals anywhere in the world and offer protection that is known in international law as diplomatic protection. That is one of the elements of nationality in the context of international law. Legal bond, rights and duties, state jurisdiction, and diplomatic protection. So the state jurisdiction is that the state can assert jurisdiction over the national to put protection. That's an offered protection. That's diplomatic protection. The rights and duties is that the individual and has the right to the protection and the recognition by the French government. That's the rights and duties. The legal bond that made through allegiance or birth. And so based on and then so gets that the French or any nation state, has a right to legislate laws that defines the nationality: French nationality, Chinese nationality, Burkinabe nationality, Russian nationality. So the government has the right to define, the power to define, the nationality. You know, through how it's gained or lost, the naturalization laws. Renunciation, expatriation, just solely, just sanguinis. So the nation state has the authority to define through legislation the nationality laws that we call the nationality laws. So I'm just giving the political application of the nationality, just opening you up to this. Want to broaden your knowledge base on nationality. It's a legal framework. Let me see if I feel any more questions before we have less than 4 minutes. Comments. And the empire will be restored. Be in our right mindset. This is David Maloney. It has to be reclaimed and operated in a certain state or corporate body to be recognized by the people of the world. That's what Juali set the framework for that. He set the stage, rather. He set the stage for it to be restored. It's a process. It's not, well, he's just asserting that we're Moors, and then that was, oh, yeah. No. That was, you're talking about a process of now, the teaching got to go on. So he did it in a structured setting. More are synonyms, keeping in mind the vowels A, E, I, O, U are interchangeable. David Maloney, it is they will not be synonyms though. That's not that's not linguistically speaking. All right, for those, this is linguistically speaking. Those are not synonyms. More, that's cognates. The word is cognates. When you're looking at sound changes, and Israel did a presentation on the etymology of the word God about back 5-6 months ago. These are cognates, or looking at the changing of vowels would be as a way of vowels called vowel shifts. Vowel shifts. That's not synonyms though. So you're looking at the words that's reconstructed due to vowel shifts, due to transliteration, removing of letters, to causing a change in sound and form. But that is not known. Those are not known as synonyms. Can you change your nationality? Nationality in the international arena has been used in the political sense. And so they use that in the United Nations, 1948 United Nations Human Rights Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, Section 2. Everyone has a right to change his nationality. They're using nationality in the political sense, not in the consanguinity sense. For the people that have training wheels, All right, so my brothers and sisters, this has been fun. I greatly appreciate you. Uncle Hank, thank you again for this platform. I'll be on my second year anniversary in December. So I'll have next week, I'll have Queen Nina Warmack on. She's on next week. I hadn't made an announcement that she would be on today, but that was my mistake. She's scheduled for next Monday. It's already, in fact, the link is already up on the on the YouTube page. So I'll have Queen Nina Mormack on next week, and I that we met each other on a WhatsApp group page 2 years ago. So once again, go to my website, mooresandmasonry.org, for my books, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, How Moon and Venus Rule, Etymology and Vocabulary, Masonic Compass Square, and the connection to measurement and timekeeping. Go to mooresandmasonry.org. Once again, Brother Michael, give me a call, 215-300-5471. Peace, everyone.